Hey guys, so I want to talk about something a little bit different today. I want to talk about how you deal with people who have like a mental illness of some sort. And I want to make clear that I'm not only just talking about people with a mental illness, but somebody who's having a bad day or somebody who gets into a fight with somebody and how to deal with the situation. But first, before I get into that, I kind of want to talk about how like people treat like people that they look up to. So I had mentioned before that like I'm the kind of guy who doesn't like to freak out over like a celebrity of some sort, who doesn't like to when I meet somebody that I admire or that I'm a fan of, I want to make sure that I treat them like a normal person. I don't want to treat them like, they're the coming of Jesus Christ or something like that. Now, I wasn't always like that. It was something that, as a young, immature lad, when I was growing up, I had to kind of learn how to, keep myself calm when I was contacting somebody. So back in the day, for example, I was a huge fan of Ego Raptor and Game Grumps. And at some point, when JonTron left and they replaced him with Danny, I wanted to send them a video game, and I sent them literally a fan letter. Danny had said that he knew nothing about Lord of the Rings, and Ego Raptor wanted to teach him about the story. So when I had at the time a game that was bought by my brother, a PS2 version of The Two Towers, I think it was. I really loved the game, but I couldn't play it anymore because I think our PS2 got taken to his new house by one of my brothers, or it broke. And eventually I did get a PS3, but it was a PS3 that, and it was a huge controversy at the time. It was a PS3 that was not backwards compatible with the PS2. It was backwards compatible with the PS1. And the reasoning at the time seemed to be that they didn't want people to play the PS2 version of games coming out. They wanted people to buy the PS3 version of the games. So they made the new model of the PS3 not backwards compatible. And it pissed off a lot of people. And it was also like a very cynical cost-cutting measure to make the games not playable on the new PS3. And I didn't learn that until I got that PS3 for Christmas or whatever. So I literally had no use for this PS2 game. And I sent them a fan letter saying, hey, I would like you guys to play this game. I really enjoy it. I think Danny would love it. It's a good introduction to the Lord of the Rings franchise. And it would be really cool if you played it. Now, I don't know if that letter got lost in the mail or something, but I sent it to their P.O. box. And I don't think they ever actually played the game. And maybe they just had too many games, or they test ran it, and it wasn't as good as I personally thought it was when I was growing up. And they just thought, maybe it would get copyright struck by the Tolkien Foundation or whatever. But I also sent a second letter at the same time. The first one was to Ego Raptor and Danny, and it was as professional as I could make it. And then the second letter included in the envelope was one to Barry, their video editor. And that one I made more informal, probably a little bit too much informal. In fact, I would later learn that there's I watched an episode of CIS or whatever, and it said that there's 3 levels to a parasocial relationship, where and I think it was some famous actor or a TV show character or TV show actor on the show was being stalked by somebody, and they had gotten fake letters to kind of make people think that this was a fan that had gone crazy instead of something else that was going on. I don't remember what the twist was, But these fake letters showed like the 3 stages of like a parasocial like stalker. And it was like a letter was first sent that was professional and just being like, hey, I'm a fan of yours, I like what you're doing, I like to see more of it, and like congratulations on getting a role or whatever. And then the second 2 was like informal, like kind of talking like they're like a little bit familiar, like as if they're friends or something. And then the third one was like a full-on stalkerish, like, I'm gonna get you, how dare you not respond to me kind of thing. Now, my letter, the first one to Danny and Barry, it was all like both letters I sent at the same time in the same package along with the video game. The letter to Eagle Raptor and Danny was, like I said, professional, and then the letter I sent to Barry was a little bit more informal. Not probably as bad as I think it was, but it was basically just like, hey Barry, I like how you edit the videos. I really appreciate the work you do for Game Grumps. And I sent him like an interview being like, what do you use? Like, what programs do you use? Like, how do you do this, that? Like, how do you, like, what's your process? That kind of thing. Because I wanted to start my own Let's Play series. And like, I always believed that like collaboration with other people would be like very important to build up a reputation. Like, eventually at some point I would have to get like other people to play with, other fans, other like Let's Players to do like you know, to do like a collaboration where we play like multiplayer and like we can share fans like that. And like my hope was eventually that maybe I would get lucky enough to get like a collaboration with Game Grumps or Steam Train, which was the other like series at the time. Now obviously that never happened, and like I hadn't, it was like a pipe dream or like a very long-term goal. But I never got a response from them, and I never saw them play the game I sent them. And that kind of really discouraged me, and it kind of got me upset, and after a while, I just stopped watching their videos. I didn't make, like, a big deal out of it. I didn't, like, send them anything else. I just realized, like, okay, well, maybe I should have made it more of a formal letter and not, like, make it informal. And that was my mistake. I learned from my lesson, but at the same time, I'm just like, you know, got a little bit too personal for me. I stopped watching them, and, like, they started to get a little bit too silly, and I kind of fell out of it. After that, I realized, you know, I should treat people like they're people, but I shouldn't treat everyone like they're my friend. And that's like I said, I met Linkara, how I said hi to Doug Walker when he came to stall for Linkara when he was having technical difficulties. I talked to Linkara twice. And then how, like, when Sargon came into the stream with me and Ace 1918, I was like, oh yeah, hey Sargon, how you doing? Like, good to see you in the stream. And then the other kind of famous person I remember seeing was, I think his name is like Garrick Hagan, something like that. It's the guy who played Big Starklighter in A New Hope, Star Wars A New Hope. Now, most of his scenes have been cut from it, and that was a big joke for him for a long time. Anytime he met fans, he always talked about how all the scenes were cut from the A New Hope that he was in. If you're not aware, Big Darklighter shows up at the end of the movie. He's like, hey, like, it's friends, like, they're good friends with, like, Luke Skywalker from the planet Tatooine. And, at the beginning of the movie, if you watch, like, the extended version, like, Luke looks up to the sky and he sees Leia's ship being attacked by the Star Destroyer. And then he goes to Tashi Station and he talks to Big Darklighter, who's about to go to the Academy to learn how to be a pilot with the Resistance, and a bunch of his other friends. Now, people who know the story know that George Lucas's wife came in and did a lot of the editing and cut out a lot of the bloat. And also, it kind of really didn't make sense for Big Starklighter to be a full-on member of the Resistance flying a ship to attack the Star Destroyer at the end of the movie, because he only would have been with the Resistance for like a week at that point. Now, granted, Luke also fought against that Star Destroyer, so it kind of was like they were so desperate at that point for pilots that maybe they just threw everyone at it, even the people that were still in training. Okay, that kind of makes sense. But you also have to remember that Luke was a Jedi initiate at that point. Anyways, I talked to Garrett with my older brother, my oldest brother, and I also treated him like a normal person. Now, the reason why I started this video is because there are people out there like Arch Warhammer, great guy, love him. I've been watching all his videos. Actually, I watched like all his videos on his lore channel, all of them. And I have sent him super chats, probably a bunch of super chats. I'm a big patron of his, but I don't treat him like a super fan. Now, he has a Discord where I met a bunch of my friends and, well, a bunch of people that I think are, you know, a little bit nuts in the head. But Arch stopped going to that Discord because anytime he tries to talk now, everyone swarms him and they're like, oh my god, Arch is here, he's never here. And they start like swarming him and like sending him messages and like acting like super fans, and it's just cringe. And it really makes Arch, in my personal opinion, it makes Arch really uncomfortable, because he's not the type that, like, you know, talks with his friends. Even when he's doing like a let's play and he's doing like multiplayer, he rarely talks. Like, he's a very reserved guy. He usually only likes to talk to like one or two people at a time, and then he's there giving like his personal opinion. And he only does that with people that he's like a really big fan of. He doesn't really talk that much when he's with people that he doesn't really know. So having people swarm him and being like really treating him like they're his best friends, it's not like something that he's like a fan of. So like if I ever did a collaboration with him, I would make it more formal, even if like I started to get to know him pretty well. Like there's certain things he doesn't want to talk about in his personal life. Obviously he doesn't want people to know where he lives because he's a political commentator and other stuff. And that's one thing I worry about. I mean, I have less than 100 subscribers now, and people in my Discord are people that I kind of trust, people I'm friends with, but they argue back and forth now and again, and, you know, I gotta make sure that it doesn't go too far. And I even made a video yesterday that will come out yesterday, technically tomorrow when I made this video, that kind of showed where I kind of like advertise my Discord. Now, I might take that link off if I start getting a bunch of people that are just there to like fight me, basically. And I don't want like my community I don't want it to turn into a bunch of people arguing with each other or people trying to sabotage me. And I also don't want it to be full of a bunch of super fans that are going to have a freaking heart attack every time I come and talk to them. Like, I want it to be like people that, like, even if I'm not friends with them, that they come in and they treat me like a person if I ever become, like, popular. And I don't want it to be, like, this huge thing. Now, I talk about people that have mental illnesses, but I do have my own quirks that I have to worry about. Like, I am a very forgiving person, like, way too forgiving. I will basically excuse almost anything. And I will very rarely block somebody on like Facebook or on Discord unless they have done something really egregious. Now on Twitter I block a lot of people because there are a lot of crazy people that will try to hunt you down, or just all they want to do is just like insult you and cause like drama and a whole bunch of other crap. I blocked a lot of people on Twitter. Most of them porn bots, to be precise, but there are a lot of bots on there that are really just there to like tick people off and to like be contrarian, and I don't want to be arguing with like a literal bot who is just like not even a real person. Like, if it's somebody arguing with me who is got a blue check mark, maybe I'll let them stay around. But there are some people that are just so crazy, like some really famous people, or like some political commentators on like MSNBC, for example, that I might block because I don't want to associate with them whatsoever. Not opposed to debate, but if it's somebody who, you know, just calls everyone a Nazi or something, I don't want to have anything to do with that. I really hope that word I just said doesn't downrank this entire video. It probably will. Oh, I have regrets now. I don't want to restart this video. Screw it. Anyways, people who just like mudsling, basically. But anyways, regardless, when it comes to people who start developing like a parasocial relationship, or like can't treat you like a normal person just because you have a modicum of fame, I don't want people being in a huge echo chamber. I also don't want people like getting like legitimately hostile and like starting to threaten each other because they don't agree on certain political points. Like, I don't want either extreme. I don't want people who are just, you know, completely autistic and like can't have no social skills whatsoever, that treat everyone who comes in afterwards as like they're noobs and like they aren't hardcore enough fans to like associate with the community. And I also don't want them to be like just starting fights all the time just because they don't like me or they don't like what I have to say. Like, either extreme I don't want in my community. But regardless, I am overly forgiving to people. I will excuse a lot. I have given way too much financial support to friends that do not appreciate me and have never paid me back a single cent. Like, I give them money on the assurance that they will eventually pay me back, and they don't. And I have stopped trying to do that, stopped trying to help people out when I know that they're asking for like a few $100s or something. And even if they're asking for a small amount, I'm just like, no, I don't do that anymore. I don't trust you to, like, in good faith, like, repay what you owe me. And I still have made the mistake of helping out people that really I should not have trusted. There are other people that I talk to on like Facebook or whatever who like will freak out, and they have their own mental health issues. And on Discord too, like people that if you do like even a tiny thing that they completely misinterpret, that they'll block you instantly. And I've reached out to some of these people with a different account. I'm just like, hey, I understand that you thought this or that. And if they are willing to listen, I'll be like, okay, that's fine. We can move past this. And if they're not, then I cut them out of my life forever, and I don't try to attempt to fix that relationship anymore. But so I'll give people way too many chances. Some people will just like, the first sign of an argument or somebody who's like mentally ill, they'll just block them. I have like a pathological need kinda to like to be liked, basically, and I don't like people who don't like me, especially somebody I've been a friend with a long time. Like, I don't want my entire friendship to be destroyed by some stupid argument over politics or some misunderstanding. I'll try to work it out if I can. But at the same time, when you deal with these people who may or may not be mentally ill, and a lot of times, a lot of my friends do have some kind of mental health issue, you have to make sure that you don't get dragged into whatever insanity that they have. It's like people who work in mental asylums. Like, they are more likely to develop a mental health issue. And I would call it like the Harley Quinn effect, where somebody who works in a mental health like thing, they'll deal with so many unhealthy people that when they go back into the real world, they'll just assume that like everybody has some kind of issue like that, and they just haven't shown it yet, and they themselves will start to show signs of mental illness. I'm talking about the people who work in the asylums. It's the same thing with people who like are on the battlefield or like work as a police or a firefighter or a paramedic. They'll deal with so many crazy people that they'll just start to be slightly paranoid when they talk to like somebody who's completely like relatively normal, because they'll just assume that everybody is like 1 second away from breaking. So you have to keep that in mind. And as somebody gets more and more popular and gets more and more super fans and more people that are like super, who start to develop like a parasocial relationship, like I said, if somebody comes in and starts acting a little bit too informal, they'll be like, oh God, I don't trust this guy. This guy might be like a future stalker of mine. I don't know. I don't want to deal with that again. And they'll just stop associating with their community. And that's a shame. I don't want to be that kind of guy either. So you just got to know how to deal with these people, and you need to learn a lot of patience. And for people who are younger, who are not used to like somebody developing some like issue, or some people who have like some anxiety or depressive or manic issue, that they don't know how to deal with like this kind of drama, and they get caught up in it, and they start getting super freaked out that somebody they thought was a friend no longer wants to associate with them, and then they'll try to go out of their way, like way out of their way, to try to fix it and just make the whole situation worse. Like I got blocked by somebody on Discord, and I told a mutual friend, hey, just tell them like this and this, and it didn't work out. And I'm just like, okay, nobody go talk to this person. Like, nobody attempt to talk to them on my behalf. No one else attempt to like fix this scenario. They're clearly not interested. It is not worth it. This person has clearly got issues, and it is not worth any of our mental health to try to fix this. Just leave them alone. And I leave it at that. Don't attempt, and just like, okay, clearly this person didn't care about me, or they got some fundamental misunderstanding of what's going on. It's not worth the drama. Just move on, and don't even think about like trying to fix it at that point. And even if it's upsetting, even if you thought they were a good friend, even if you thought you had a good thing going on, it is not worth it. Just move on. They made it clear. And try not to lose any sleep over it. It's like you have better friends out there in the world, people that you actually do care about. And I got people out there that think I'm like their salvation, like their last hope for like a good relationship. And I'm just like, look, listen, you got some issues we got to work on. Don't assume that me and you are going to be like bestest of friends, or like in a relationship or something. Like, we got, it might not work out, okay? And the same thing with me. I have like somebody that I was super interested in, and I wanted to be in a relationship with, and I got friend zoned. And at that point, it's just like, you have to learn when to cut your losses and be like, okay, look, I care about this person. I want to be with them. They don't want to be with me. They just want to stay friends. And if staying around them hurts you too much, then maybe it's like not worth to even hang out with them. Because if you like had big issues with it, and you're just like, oh, but I don't want to be just friends, then maybe it's just better to like block them, move on, like just for a while. You don't have to block them forever, but just, I don't want to respond. It's okay. Just cut them out of your life for a while. And then maybe months later come back and like say, hey, look, listen, it's not you. It's just that I didn't want to like hurt myself by holding out hopes for something better, or like or relationship to have an upgrade, that I just needed some space. And it's the same thing with people who like get a divorce or have a breakup. Sometimes it's better to just block your ex and just try not to think about it. Don't try to contact him. Don't try to think about it too much. Just wait until your emotions calm down, and then unblock them months later when you feel like you can deal with it. And then even then, you don't have to refriend them. You don't have to send them a message. If they want to reach out, fine. But don't expect them to reach out, and you don't have to make the first move. Like, you don't. Just, you can unblock them, and then if they want to do something, then okay. Otherwise, just move on. You gotta learn to accept certain stresses in life, deal with it in your own way, and not, let it drive you absolutely insane. And if somebody is like freaking out at you, yelling at you, calling you a whole bunch of stuff, that like you might start to agree that like, oh, they call you like an asshole or whatever, and like you're mistreating them. Like at that point, it's like, okay, you think I'm mistreating you? Then let's not talk. You don't have to believe every time, like every insult somebody gives you, and you try not to let it like affect your mental health. That it's not that you shouldn't take like criticism, but if somebody is just, like if you're being calm and collected and you're just like, hey, look, listen, I don't want to fight about politics. It's all right. Like, I accept you for who you are. And they're like, no, I don't agree with you. I hate you. And it's like your opinions are stupid and you're like ignorant. And it's like, they just keep like going on and on and on and on and on and on. At some point, you just got to be like, look, listen, okay, look, I don't want to deal with it. Like, maybe you should take a step back and stop. Like, maybe we shouldn't associate if you can't be civil and have like a normal like conversation. Like, if you really can't like deal with this, like I can deal with all your issues. Like, I know you have some issues that you need to work on, but if you can't, take a step back. You take a step back, and you are the one who has to be like, no more of this. We're done. I'm moving on. And if they're not willing to move on, block them. And then that's it. Just let things go. If they can't let go, if they just want to yell at you and like insult you and try to make you feel like the worst human being on the planet, it's not worth it. Just, you have to learn patience. You have to learn that not everyone's going to like you, that you can't fix every relationship, and sometimes you just have to like find something else. Find somebody else to talk to. Even if it's somebody you've known for a very long time, it might take a long time for you to get over it, but just leave it in the past. And it might be something that bothers you for the rest of your life, but the more time you're separated from, I hate to use this word, from the trauma, the better you're going to be able to deal with it. So, again, just try not to get caught up in the insanity and try not to go insane yourself. Anyways, I'm going to leave it at that. Just some advice out there for people who gain a modicum of fame, or have somebody who like you really care about who doesn't care about you, or you have a huge fight with somebody that you thought you had a close relationship with, or somebody you did have a close relationship with. Don't get dragged down to their level if all they're going to do is hate on you, or going to have like mental health issues. Some people get over their depression. Some people get over their mania. Some people like learn to conquer their anxiety. And when you're younger, you're going to have a lot of anxiety and you're going to have some depression. And it's going to take you years to get used to these kinds of people and for you to deal with your own issues. And at some point, you're going to get older. You're going to learn how to deal with these stresses, and you're going to be able to stop like go into like a huge spiraling depression whenever something happens. You're going to learn. Like, you're going to learn. don't get discouraged. But I'm going to leave it at that. Half an hour for this one. My guys.